Good evening, boys and girls. Tonight's lesson is lesson 12.10, Mixed Measures. Our essential question is, how can you solve problems using mixed measures? Go ahead and open up your Go Math book to lesson 12.10 for mixed measures practice. Now this first question is not in your Go Math book, so I just want you to watch and listen to see what our lesson is going to be all about. It says, Herman is building a picnic table for a new campground. The picnic table is 5 feet, 10 inches long. How long is a picnic table in inches? I'm going to take my colored pencil and I'm just going to circle the word inches because that's what it's asking me to find, inches. But here's the deal. My question has 5 feet as well as 10 inches. So my job is to convert it all to inches. Now, as you can see, my 10 inches is already done for me. So I'm just going to write 10 inches down right here. However, I need to change my 5 feet to my inches. Now, we learned in class that in every foot there are 12 inches. Therefore, there are 12 inches per foot. So for 5 feet, I would just multiply and find that there are 60 inches in 5 feet. So what I will do now is my lesson is all about mixed measures. I've got feet and I have inches. But now I've just converted it all to inches. So now I have the easy job of just adding up my total. So I could now say that Herman is building the picnic table for a new campground. The picnic table is 70 inches long. So let's look at the first example for number 1 that's done for you in your Go Math book. The first example says 8 pounds, 4 ounces equals 132 ounces. Well, here's how they did that. You want to think that there are 8 pounds, so remember we learned that in class that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So when you multiply 8 times 16, you're going to get 128 ounces. But let's look back at our question. It says 8 pounds, 4 ounces. So we had to find the total of ounces for 8 pounds. So the 8 pounds would be 128 ounces plus my 4 ounces here. So 128 plus 4 would give me my 132 ounces. What we're going to do in class tomorrow is we're going to be practicing a lot of different types of mixed measures. But for homework tonight, I want to just focus on the odd problems with you. So you're in luck if you watch the video. You only have to do 3, 5, 7, as well as all the other odd problems. Go ahead and circle 3, 5, and 7 right now, and we're going to work on those together in this video. Let's look at question 3 right now. Question 3 says 4 minutes, 45 seconds equals how many seconds? Well, let's look at our conversion sheet if you can't remember how many seconds are in 1 minute. I know, according to my conversion sheet as well, that 1 minute equals 60 seconds. Therefore, 4 minutes would have to have the equation 4 times 60. It would look like this, really. 4 times 60 plus my extra 45 seconds. This is what my equation would look like. But let's go ahead and multiply 60 times 4. I know that 60 times 4 is 240 because 4 times 6 tenths is 24 tenths, and then I have an extra 0. So it's 240. And now I'm just going to add my 45 seconds. So 240 plus 45 equals 285 seconds. Let's go ahead and write 285 seconds down here. Now, look at your conversion sheet, and I want you to try number 5 on your own. 3 tons, 600 pounds equals how many pounds? Go ahead and pause the video and work that out, and we'll check it together. Okay, for number 5, you should have done that there are 2,000 pounds per ton. So if you have 3 tons times 2,000 plus your 600 pounds. That will give you the answer for your how many pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 3 times 2 thousandths would equal 6,000. Because 2,000 plus 2,000 plus 2,000 is 6,000. And now I can just add my 600 to my 6,000. And when you add that up, you should have 6,600. I hope you got the same answer I did. Now let's move on to number 7. I want you to pause the video, try this on your own. But first, think about how many ounces are in each pound. Go ahead and pause your video now. Alright, so for number 7, you should have said, well, I know that there are 16 ounces per pound. So you could do 16 times 7, and then you're going to add your 12 ounces. That'll give you how many total ounces that there are. So let's go ahead and multiply 16 times 7. I know I have 7 times 6 ones is 42 ones. And then 7 times 1 10 is 7 tens, plus 4 more would be 11 tens, which equals 112. So now my equation will have 112 plus 12. And I know 112 plus 12 should be 124. So you should have 124 ounces that are in 7 pounds, 12 ounces. I hope your answer matched mine as well. Now, because I promised you that you'd only have to do the odd problems, I'm going to go ahead and do number 9 with you. Now, it says 12 pounds, 5 ounces minus 7 pounds, 10 ounces. Now, I can do the hard way, and I can convert it all to ounces if I wanted to, but then that would be a lot of extra multiplication, and it could cause an error because you would have to multiply 12 times 16 to get that product of how many ounces, to find that ounces plus the 5 ounces, and then change 7 pounds into ounces as well, and then add that into the 10 ounces just to subtract it all in ounces. Now that's a lot of extra work. A faster way to do it would be to just regroup. Now, but you have to remember how many ounces are in 1 pound in order to do this, because it's different from regrouping with subtraction when it's just whole numbers. So let's go ahead and think about this. How many ounces are in 1 pound? If you were thinking 16, you're right. So because if you look at this question, you can see that I have 5 ounces minus 10 ounces. I can't take 10 ounces from 5 ounces without regrouping from my 12 pounds. So let's go ahead and cross out our 12 pounds and make it 11 pounds. But I will have to regroup. I took away a pound. I must make a pound with my ounces. Therefore, I will have to add 16 ounces to my 5 ounces. 16 plus 5 is 21 ounces. Well, that's a messed up looking 21, isn't it? Let's go ahead and do that again. 21 ounces. Now I can subtract. 21 ounces minus 10 ounces is 11 ounces. And 11 pounds minus 7 pounds is 4 pounds. So my answer is 4 pounds, 11 ounces. Now, if you want to try and do 8 and 10 on your own, you're more than welcome for the extra practice. You can add 9 gallons in 1 quart plus 6 gallons 1 quart. You can also add 8 hours, 3 minutes plus 4 hours and 12 minutes. This should not be actually hard for you at all. Let's go ahead and move on to our problem solving. Let's go ahead and read our problem-solving question. It says Michael's basketball team practiced for 2 hours 40 minutes yesterday and 3 hours 15 minutes today. How much longer did the team practice today than yesterday? Whenever you see how much longer did the team practice today than yesterday, you know you're setting yourself up for a subtraction problem. So let's begin. I want to put my larger value on top. That's going to be 3 hours 15 minutes. And we're going to subtract our 2 hours and 40 minutes from our 3 hours and 15 minutes. Now this is a little bit difficult to do because I can't subtract 40 minutes from my 15 minutes without regrouping. So you can either regroup, like we did in the last question together, or you can convert this all to minutes and then subtract. I'm going to go ahead and convert it all to minutes with you, and you can see how it can be done that way. So let's begin. First of all, I want to take my 3 hours and I want to change that into minutes only. We know that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So I would say 60 times 3. And I know 60 times 3 is 180 minutes. And I'm going to add that to my 15 minutes just to have that first total. So 180 plus 15 is 195 minutes. Now let's look at the second hour. It says 2 hours, 40 minutes. So 2 hours would be 2 times 60. 2 times 60 is 120 plus our 40. So 120 plus 40 would equal 160 because 20 plus 40 is 60. So I have 195 minutes minus 160 minutes. So the difference that the team practiced today than yesterday would be 35 minutes difference. So we can say that the team practiced 35 more minutes today than yesterday. That's how you would do it if you wanted to show that you can convert it all to minutes. But suppose that you want to just say, you know what, I'd rather regroup, Mrs. Young. Well, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that so I can show you how you can do it that way. I know I cannot take 40 from 15 minutes, but I can borrow 60 minutes. So what I can do is I can take from my 3 hours and make that 2 hours. Now remember, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So I'm going to borrow 60 minutes from this 3 hours right here. Because I just took away an hour, I can make an hour to add to my 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add 60 minutes to my 15. So now this will become 60 plus 15. And I know 60 plus 15 equals 75 minutes. So let's go ahead and subtract. 75 minus 40 is 35 minutes. Do you see how we got the same answer? And for the hours, 2 hours minus 2 hours is 0 hours. So those are two different ways that you can show how to get the answer. Either you can use the regrouping process like I showed you just now, or you can do the converting process like I showed you before. So here are your homework questions for tonight. Questions 1 and 2 on the back side of your Go Math sheet on page 240. Do the first 2 because this is what our lesson's about, and then I want you to answer the other 4 questions that are our review questions. Don't forget, before you close your book tonight, assess yourself. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're a novice, where you're just starting to learn this and you don't understand it? 2, apprentice, you're starting to get it, but you still need some coaching. 3, practitioner, you can do this all by yourself, but you might get stuck sometimes. Or 4, expert, you understand it so well you could teach it to your neighbor. Go ahead, boys and girls, and rate yourself, and remember, we will practice this tomorrow. Here are your questions again. Take your time, check yourself, and ask yourself if your answer makes sense before you close your book. See you tomorrow. Have your Go Math book ready, and we'll check them together in the morning. Have a great night. Bye-bye.